What is up, humans and mutants alike? My name is Kyle. We are going back through our old catalog and re-uploading them onto YouTube in what we are calling Podcast of X Classics. So enjoy. What is up, my fellow humans and mutants? My name is Kyle. I'm with Danny. We are talking X-Men once again this week on Podcast of X, and we are moving on to X-Force. Now, last week we talked, the last issue we talked Excalibur, right?
Correct.
Yes.
I believe we ended Excalibur, yeah.
Yeah, and we got a little mystical, we got a little magical. We got to see a little bit of change in what the Captain Britain is now. We see that that mantle has been passed. We see that Jamie Braddock has been consumed by the evil that is
Morgan Le Fay. She has taken his soul and bound him to her will in a very strange twist for his character, but I'm excited to see where they go with that.
Yeah, that should be interesting. But this week we are talking X-Force. Now, I'm excited. X-Force has always been a favorite of mine when it comes to X-Men in general. How about yourself?
Yeah, the older stuff of X-Force was definitely my favorite. The earlier stuff with what was it, Liefeld and Simonson was working on, Louise Simonson.
Yes.
The stories were good enough, but the imagery was not up to snuff as like the later things would be. I was more a fan of like the X-Force with like, oh gosh, with Kyle Yost easily. That was probably the peak X-Force for me. I mean, Rick Remender was good too. He also has those.
I like Rick Remender.
Yeah, those were like the two good like writers when it came to, or at least not the good ones. I mean, those were the two of my favorite writers when it came to X-Force. And a lot of the people who wrote on X-Force did some good stuff, but after those guys, it didn't seem like it really held my interest. I just remember looking into it and coming across one of the issues and being like, wow, this is a very metal X-Men issue. Like they get into some violent stuff on this. This is like no holds bar kind of Tarantino level of like intensity. It was a surprise. It wasn't very much like that. I mean, they had like hardcore concepts in the older X-Force issues that were done with the Simonson and Liefeld, but they weren't really on the level of like everything is either on the floor dead or standing and covered in blood. Like that was kind of like how they brought the end of every issue. It was just like, well, we did our job. Everyone died. X-Force, Volume 1. That's the title. I can live with that. But yeah, it's exciting to like see that they're still kind of doing the X-Force line, and that this issue actually kind of has a lot of that feeling that the older Kyle Yost stuff was kind of putting forth. A very just in art style, and in like theme and like in character design and portrayal.
We got Joshua Cassara and Dean White working them pencils and working them ink and paints on this issue. And we got Benjamin Percy writing.
I'm not familiar with Percy. Are you familiar with any of his works?
Nope, not at all. This is new territory for me as well when it comes to Benjamin Percy. So yeah, exciting. But are you ready to kick off X-Force issue number 1?
Let's do it. Let's dive into this.
This is
a doozy
into this.
Now, I will point out the issue cover is that is a very more older X-Force field. Now that kind of has that whole like team up like with Cable, and you would see the other members like that's because the like I guess you would say like the Craig Kyle and the Christopher Yost stuff that was always a very dark cover, and it would usually be like one or two members or like a few members posing behind them, and then like there'd be like this really just like dark brooding vibe. I do like that they're going with a less I guess you could say adult approach with these covers. They're not trying to make it too like, look at this, it's X-Force, we're super gritty. Like they're not trying to be too tongue-in-cheek about it.
No.
So it's already subverting my expectations. I'm going into this like, all right, I don't know really what to expect. and that's cool. I enjoy that so far.
Right. Yeah. Very stoic.
Mhm.
But we start off with this sort of council, and they're doing this kind of like blood ritual. And I guess it's like to put up this psionic shield over this area to ensure privacy, right? Is that what's
Well,
going
that's
on?
also they're checking for the X gene. So like they're now these people are strange. I'm not really sure who they are specifically, but I
Right.
have my thoughts. Due to their design and their character portrayal, they kind of remind me of
Yes.
the Leper Queen because they wear
Okay.
that mask, and she was a part of a group I believe that was called the Sapien League or Friends of Humanity. It was like one of those two. They're both of those groups are very similar and like how they work, and they kind of have this style of like secret society, and like they dress kind of like this. They have the mask. Like she specifically had a mask like that, and was very anti-mutant due to because like her daughter was born a mutant and her power was like I guess fire in some way, and she burnt
Uh
down the
huh.
house. And in the process of burning down the house, she killed herself, and the Leper Queen like burnt her face. So that's why she wears the mask, like kind of like Jason almost.
Gotcha.
And
I'm
that's
not.
the vibe I feel, though. Maybe
Uh,
that's what it is. That could be the twist. Like we find out that these people are like the continuation of one of those societies.
yeah, I'm getting very, very Court of Owls vibes from this group as well.
Oh, definitely. That is totally. That is. Oh, you're right. That is actually totally the feel here. Like it's almost like the Marvel version of the court,
Yeah,
the strange human society.
and essentially they're taking blood from everyone,
Yeah, they're
and
trying to measure like if you have the X gene as like kind of
yeah, they're
a vetting process.
exactly they're kind of going through everyone, and they're met with Domino, which is interesting, and they kind of hold her down, force her down. She's wearing a mask, right?
Well,
Visually,
she's trying to blend
con-
in and like try to infiltrate. It seems like
yeah,
at first you're not sure who this person really is, and like
right.
they're kind of like being a little bit a use of subterfuge here, and I feel that using Domino in this way is kind of an interesting way to introduce her to the greater powers of X and House of X storyline that's been built here. It's like, what has Domino been doing in all this, and what role does she play in like the whole Krakoan society? And her being doing espionage is like, especially to X Force, like she's OG out of everyone that's going to be in this issue. That's an X Force related character. She is the most OG of them all
Yeah, for sure.
because she's original like Liefeld introduction. Her and I believe Fabian Nasia created her. I think so, or Louise Simonson, one of the two. But I know X Force like spun out of like New Mutants and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, this is weird because you're not sure who this is. But when the glove comes off, you see that pale white skin she has, and she kind of makes like a little hint about like luck and talks about luck, and that's how you know it's Domino, because who else has luck powers? I mean, that's like
Yeah.
that's one mutant. There is no other mutant that has luck powers, from what I know. I mean, Douglas can like read probabilities in people by like understanding body language and stuff, but that's not luck. That's like him willing that.
Yeah. But they kind of after they kind of throw her down, pin her down, cover it. Want your blood, son? Give me your blood. Give me your blood. Kind of creepy, you know. That's not my kink. That's not my fetish. Is that your fetish?
It definitely looks. It does look kind of intense, where everyone's just going around like cutting each other and pouring blood on like little dishes, and like it's very weird, creepy secret society kind of motif going on in here. But yeah, she turns it around real quick and like kind of has to play her hand because they're starting to realize that she hasn't given blood yet. And I mean, her not actually committing to the whole thing is suspicious right away when everyone was just like, yeah, let's pour our blood all over everything. So instantly she's like, well, I'm going to have to use these luck powers. And she just starts stabbing people. Look at my luck.
Look
It's on full display for you. I have
at
the lucky
this.
ability to use this knife and find flesh.
Smart to make her someone involved in espionage because she'll get lucky.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah. She'll manage to turn the corner right before the guard finds her. Or, like the lock to a cell or something will fall, like, and she'll catch it perfect. Like all these weird like cliches will get her out of any like dumb like situation. Like picture like James Bond tied down to like a tray or a table, and they got that laser coming up like really slow, and he's like, "You want me to talk?" And it's like, "No, I expect you to die," but then like really slowly. Like she would be able to do like some sort of luck thing, and just like throw out a quarter and reflect like the lasers to like just hit the bracelets that lock her down. Like every James Bond trope could never stop her. Like it would fall at her knees instantly. But here it seems like her luck kind of runs out because she may fuck up a bunch of people and flip some tables and mess some things up. But the big dude that she stabbed in the hand right off the bat with the knife still in it just grabs her and like freaking whips her to the ground.
Yep.
Decimates her. Looks like right through a table. Like this is turning into like in some WWF shit right here.
Oh yeah, grounds crumbled, everything.
Right through that table. Like, oh man, her back looks like it got thrashed. You just see that look of anguish on her face where she's like, oh no, I might be paralyzed. She's not. Luckily enough, she's not. Any other person probably would be paralyzed right now.
Yeah. How's your spine?
Yeah. And that's how we're introduced to Domino. We're just
And
like, oh, this is Domino, by the way.
Yes, that's how we're introduced to Domino.
Because her mask is thrown back at this point.
Yeah. In the series. First introduction.
Yes, exactly. Because I don't even remember seeing her in like side panels or like background characters in any of the Powers and House stuff.
No.
Yeah, so this is like full on like her first foyer just in physical appearance.
Now, Danny, did you know mutants around the world are flocking to the island nation of Krakoa for safety, security, and to be part of the first mutant society? However,
and that's slamming healthcare. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, this is Krakoa and Charles right here, man. However, a new nation means new enemies, Danny.
True.
New enemies.
New villains.
Yes. Yes, and that's how we start our issue of X Force. Now we move to Krakoa, the island of Krakoa, not the person of Krakoa, the island. I mean,
the island person?
The island person thing.
Yeah.
What gender pronoun do you think Krakoa identifies as?
I would say Krakoa is mutant and proud.
And proud.
Oh God. I would just say Krakoa is one of those really weird exceptions to also being a mutant. If Warlock can be a mutant, so can Krakoa. So I'll allow it.
Sure. And Beast is hanging out. He's walking around. He's by a creek. He's observing things. He's going, ooh, fascinating. Wow. Ooh. And he is attacked. Instantly attacked.
What would you describe that as?
Surprise, like a man, bear, pig type thing. No, bear pig without the man. There's no man. It's just bear pig. It's just bear pig
too. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
It's kind of got a bit of like it's kind of stout and shapely like a pig, but it's got the fur and claws and like kind of snout of a bear a little bit. It's weird, like a bear and a pig crossed at the snout. So bizarre. I like how throughout all of the X-Men comics, there's almost always these weird amalgamation, like creatures that get created to fight the X-Men, or like they have to deal with that are always these weird, just abstract, like of other animals.
Yeah, these chimera type.
Yes,
that you see.
Very chimera.
Yeah,
almost always chimera-like. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's this Beast is taking over Beast. Yeah.
He's stopping him. It's surprising. I guess he caught him off guard, but I mean, like Beast was about to get his like clock cleaned by this thing. He looks like he didn't really seem to put up too much of like you're fucking with me on Beast. It was more of like, oh no, this is about to eat my face.
Right. But luckily we have Logan just hanging out in the background, and he comes and saves Beast. He snicks his way through the situation.
like that. Just off the hill, just snick, snick.
Yeah.
They both got their own schnick. I like that. Like the individuals instead of like
Yeah.
a greater one defining them both.
Each one has to have their own snick. It's a mandate. Marvel mandate.
I like Wolverine's fourth wall that kind of exists in like a juxtaposition to him. He doesn't even know about it, but it's always there. Yep. Just kind of chilling with him.
Yeah. And the Beast, it goes off. It wanders off, and Wolverine helps Beast up, and they're talking. They're talking about predators essentially, and they're talking about how there shouldn't be any threats on Krakoa. And for the most part, it's pointing out to the audience that there is a security flaw on Krakoa.
I think this highlights the best part here as the fact that like all environments in nature develop natural predators of their own due to their existence throughout time through things like evolution.
Yes.
And he's kind of touching on like a greater concept of like how the mutants fit in the rest of the world as well. So this like whole idea of Krakoa being this paradise is almost like a fallacy in a way. Like it's doomed to have this kind of issue no matter what, no matter how safe they feel. Because the safer you feel, as Wolverine like hints on, that's when you're at your weakest and that's when you're most vulnerable. And that's essentially what happened to Beast here. Like why he got kind of like, I guess that's why he got stomped on, because he was like too vulnerable because he felt so safe. He felt like he was a kid in a candy store, and now all of a sudden reality's coming in. I like how it's highlighted too, as they're talking about the predator, and you see that weird bird creature eating that butterfly.
Right.
There's always a predator. And I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Right.
There's a weird shit growing on this island. I would be scared too.
Yeah, and Wolverine, that's what Wolverine says. He's like, when you're safe, you're soft. And he has his back turned to Beast while he's saying this.
It's so brooding.
Right? And then we cut to the security system at Krakoa. The green bonded alarm system. This external nervous system transmits and translates plant intelligence to neural intelligence with the host being Cassidy.
The breakout superstar of the freaking series.
Yes.
Black Tom.
Motherfucker. My man, Black Tom Cassidy. What is your experience with Black Tom Cassidy in the comics? Brother of Banshee.
Right. Friend of Juggernaut. And empower of Shillelaghs. I think that's really that's Black Tom in a nutshell up until this point. Now we hit 2019, and 2019 give a lot of love to Black Tom. A lot of love.
Yeah.
He's been elevated in a way. Oh, the shit he says in this issue. Oh my goodness. I was like, oh, Black Tom, we need more of you. I love that you're like the guardian of Krakoa. I love this role you're playing in like mutantdom. Like, please, let's get more of this. I want to see. I want to see what he really pops off, because we get a little bit. We get a little like pre-pop, but not a full pop.
Right.
We're still due for a full Black Tom like pop off.
I'm excited to see something. Yeah. Like him, just because he has control of like the whole, like he's monitoring everything right now. So according to this, he has like aquatic detectors and atmospheric detectors. So he can detect anything coming through the atmosphere. He can detect anything coming from the sea.
Using plankton. Fucking seaweed and plankton. He's using that as like a kind of like sonar. Like kind of like, or like a almost like a psychic barrier of like how Xavier has that kind of like ability where he can detect things at a certain radius, and when things cross, he knows it's there. He's using the plants to kind of replicate that ability. It's crazy. But then they also have like a psychic barrier that Jean runs that on. The atmosphere detector is pretty cool with the pollen too. That like I picture like sunflower or what are they like? What dandelion or what's that, dandelions? That's that one with the little like white like little follicles that kind of blow off into the wind and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, dandelion.
Yeah. So it's like he's using those kind of things and like wielding it in such a unique way that he has this like really elaborate security system. I'm kind of impressed in how they're flushing out like Tom's powers. Like they're taking him to a level where he's not just able to wield the plants in a way. He's able to utilize them to upgrade just normal concepts. I mean, these organic objects are functioning on a level that technology usually would, but he's replicating it with ease through his own nervous system.
Yeah, so specifically, he could transmit and translate neural intelligence into plant intelligence. So he could communicate with plants, more or
Yeah,
less. So he
yeah,
could, and not only could he communicate, but he could like almost create like a organized system in place.
it kind of gave him a Swamp Thing boost. Like he used to be just like he could channel energy through wood, and then he got
Yeah,
wood put in his body, and then he could channel energy through his body. But then, like I think it was like not too long ago, they just gave, or I can't remember, it might have even been longer, but they eventually gave him like a huge upgrade where he just turned into Swamp Thing. Like he's got all those powers. Like it seems like every unique ability you can use the plants for and wield, like Black Tom can do that.
yes.
What do we go with space plants? Think about that.
Space. Ooh, okay. That'd be interesting. Maybe he would be able to decipher language
Information and like certain space plants have
Yeah.
crazy abilities.
Oh, yeah.
Or he was in like some sort of weird celestial god life tree and he just taps into it and he's like, I am immortal. The strongest person in the Marvel Universe in the end wasn't Franklin Richards. It was Black Tom Cassidy. To me, my Galactus.
To me, good times. So Cassidy, we're met with Cassidy, and he's just hanging out on his like ivy throne of just like vines
Beautiful.
and whatnot. Yeah, and it's awesome. It's the artwork is amazing. Like
Yeah,
just
how
like
he's
the
melding with the background and like kind of
yeah
just fluid with like his surroundings. Oh, it's
yeah
great.
oh yeah.
It feels so ingrained and like lively.
And she's like, "Yo, what's going on? I feel something coming." He's just like, "Oh no, I feel something tingling. It's
Who
happening.
steppeth to the
Who's
Krakoa?
coming? Who's coming through here?" And some mutants are looking out on the beach, and it's all like, "Yo, I think we could trust these people." And we cut to, and we find out that it is the Marauders coming back from a mission.
Yeah, the scurvy marauders coming back from the high sea
Those swashbuckling peoples.
with their weird freaking skull logo still there. Even when they say it's Kitty
Yeah.
Pryde and her marauder.
They're pirates. It's good branding.
Yeah, they got good marketing.
Yeah,
They got a hell of a
great
marketing.
marketing, man. Yeah, you should see their Twitter ad revenue. It's great.
Oh, God.
Um,
Oh, but look at him. Like Mike Thomas is like, I will go to like set the pier for them, and he like
Yeah.
reshapes the water around them, like literally brings up the island and creates like a makeshift pier.
like a
You know-
dock, yeah.
Yeah, like a dock / pier kind of situation for them to like set land to. But look
Yeah.
when he punches the ground. It's
Yeah.
douche.
Douche. It's great. It's so like dramatic too. I'm pretty sure he could have done that without having to like jump up and punch the ground.
But I mean, he wanted to look classy. I mean,
Sure,
he's chilling
I
on a
get
throne
it.
back there, so
I get it.
he's starting to get a bit of a Namor vibe.
He is. He's getting a little cocky, a little pompous.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that. He's not at that level yet. There's layers to this. There's levels to this, bro. You gotta wait. You gotta wait your turn.
Yeah.
Maybe like in 20 years
Mm-hmm.
in Marvel writing, you'll get there. But they dock on the plant dock thing, pier thing, and Jean Grey comes up, and she's like, "Yo," and
Iconic looking too. Like she feels like she's
Oh,
just this
yeah.
beacon of the old school X-Men. Like she's like this ode to their history and the classic X-Men, and that's what I feel like is her whole like design purpose. Like they totally do Jean like that just so you could feel like she is the embodiment of the original X-Men idea. And I didn't really get that until I read this issue and I was like looking at her and I was like, oh, I really see what they're doing there. They're not just throwing back for like, you know, the fans as like a fun nod. Like that there's a symbolism in that kind of design.
Yes.
that I really see is like she's almost like a messiah. Like look how she's floating down like fucking Jesus. Like she's like,
Straight up.
and she senses the whole situation in a different way too, because Black Tom knew someone was coming, but he doesn't know about like who it is. Jean already knew, like she was already way on it. She's like, it's Kitty, but there's something more unique. She sensed something else there, like something sad. That's what we're going into right now.
Something sad, yes. So Jean approaches Kitty, and they talk about the refugees for a second. They brought some refugees back. So remember
From Russia, yeah.
Yes, the Marauders from Russia. Remember the Marauders
From Russia with love.
their goal is not only to supply other countries with Krakoan medicine and goods and flowers and whatnot, but it's also
to supply Wolverine with booze.
And it's also clearly it's for Wolverine's whiskey, his booze, his steaks, and also to smuggle back a couple mutants. And on this trip, they're met with someone, a familiar face. It's been a while. It's been a couple, like a year and a half since we've seen this character.
Been down and out.
Been down and out. Who were we met with, Danny?
We were met with the great Colossus.
Yes.
Sultan of SWAT.
Uh-huh.
We made with fucking like Peter here. He's coming. Rasputin is back, and he is thrashed. He is all beat up. He looks like he had like a tussle with like Magneto, or it was like him in like the end of Days of Future Past when like the Sentinels are overtaking him and they like bend him all back and melt him. Oh man, you can see inside his knee. Like there's literally like a hole popping out right
Straight
there.
Up a hole in his knee.
It's beautiful. Beautiful artwork. Like you really get the anguish of like he is a beaten, battered, and destroyed man.
Yeah.
Who was actually in Russia the whole time. This was the part because see, like the Marauders are like the kind of like the go-to for people who can't get out of the country, people who want to get to Krakoa but they can't get to the teleporters or the locations that allow them to get there. So Marauders go in and they bring them out, but Colossus was their inside guy. He had been in Russia for a while trying to like recover mutants. He's behind enemy lines, like doing shit and like in espionage ways and like special types of like little just like running gun types missions. It did not work out.
It did not work out. And this is what we find out this is what he's been doing this whole time since his Batman moment with Kitty.
Yeah, the whole marriage fallout.
Marriage fallout. Yeah.
So I tell you, I stay away from those comics. They're worse than the so and so gets dead comics. Like it's just like no,
right.
I don't want to read your marriage comic. This is really weird. The marriage probably won't even matter in like 2 issues. So like they don't, and all of them did.
Yeah.
Batman did this. This did it. The only one that seemed to stick was like Gambit and Rogue were the only one that seemed to stick. But I mean, she's like a tree vortex now, and he's like distraught. So. We'll see where that marriage goes.
We shall see. We shall see. But we move on after we're met with Colossus. We're cut quickly to a memo from the desk of Charles Xavier. Official response to non-treaty nations. I'm going to read this real quick. All those who have not yet signed the treaty acknowledging mutant sovereignty will be treated publicly as future allies who have not yet realized the benefits of the agreement. Firm but firmly diplomatic efforts will continue. This will include weekly phone calls and monthly visits from Krakoa emissaries, I can say words, educational propaganda, blasts via radio, television, and internet, and invitations of politicians via and business leaders to mutant-sponsored events in allied territories. And it goes on. Punitive measures will be mostly indirect, including increased tariffs from the United States and China. I wonder why they have to pay more taxes? GDP?
I guess they could get more out of it, so they're kind of playing more hardball where they can get the most bang for their buck.
Yeah, getting all that cash. All of this assumes a stance of friendly disagreement, but any openly hostile behavior toward mutant kind will be subject to an immediate tactile response, pending discussion and approval from the Quiet Council. So this is setting up pretty much like this is their secret forces. This is their Ambu ninjas right here.
Yeah.
We're not fucking around.
This is the X-Force team like narrative. Like that's something that seems like X-Force would be tied to.
Yeah, and this is very, very keen to like what they are representative of, which is like we stab people. We don't give a fuck.
This hits pretty close to home though when you think about it though, like especially with the tariffs being increased between the United States and China. Like
Yeah.
I think we're at a pretty I guess you could say tumultuous time for like relations between like what the perception of the United States and what the perception of China is on a global scale. So that's definitely interesting that this is like kind of touching to that vein already. As like the world around us kind of deals with a similar concept. I was like, oh, I like that. I like that little nod. Like you're getting a little topical, but also still keeping it relevant and how it fits to like how Krakoa would deal with that kind of paradigm as we as a real society would to in turn as well.
It's kind of like almost what's going on with China and Hong Kong, if you think about it.
Yes, that's what it feels like. That's what it's like. That kind of level of, I guess you could say, like irony to it. Like it's a level of or coincidental, like nonsense, if you will. It's almost like, oh, you could see what Krakoa represents, like that kind of Hong Kong like level of destitute.
Sure. So you want to hear that was the official response, but you ready for
that's on the record?
Yeah, on the record, but off the record. You ready for off the record?
Yeah, do it.
Any attempts let's do it. Any attempts by non-treaty nations to secure back-channel conduits for Krakoa medicine will be arranged through the Black King and the Hellfire Trading Company. Failure to work with the Black King will result in intimidation at his discretion, followed by covert punitive measures. Mutant operative cells will work to undermine the current administration. For now, their primary focus will be the extraction of all mutants currently forbidden from crossing the border and joining their mother nation of Krakoa. In Russia, this effort includes Colossus, Petor, Peter, and Rasputin.
Mother Krakoa. Like a mother nation of Krakoa in Mother Russia. It's interesting that they were so like blatant about like the back end dealing of the whole black market concept of it and like just the route they're going to go is like, okay, won't be obvious about it, but we are still going to do dirty dealings with like the whole pharmaceutical like end of it. He's going full Breaking Bad with this shit, and I love it. I love it how he like and he fucking contracted it out to fucking Sebastian Shaw of all people for intimidation and distribution tactics. This is fun. This is shaping up to be something else, but it's definitely something fun.
It's fun. I'm excited.
And look at there's Colossus's little blurb about like what he's been up to. He's been like doing secret espionage, fucking James Bond style missions in Russia for Charles.
Yeah.
And he fucked up.
Fucked up. Now you got a hole in your knee.
Yep. You had to fucking cart his ass out of there. Send in the one man wrecking crew, Kitty Pryde. Well, I mean, she always comes complimentary with Lockjaw, but I mean, that's given.
Yeah. But we're met with we're going to Seoul Airport, and we're hanging out in the terminal, and we're met with Sage, right?
Oh wait, I said Lockjaw, Lockheed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lockjaw.
I was like, wait.
Lockjaw would be a whole different story.
That would be weird. Kitty Pryde and Lockjaw, weird, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now we're in this weird airport. It's getting a little more real because now we're getting into like the beginning of some sort of hijacking situation in an airplane.
Right.
I'm like, oh right, this is definitely an X-Force issue. They are not stepping away from any topics.
No, not at all. And we're hanging out at the airport. We're seeing like something go down. Like we see some suspect people, if you will, and Xavier's communicating with Sage, and Sage is talking about how they lost contact with Domino at the moment, and
She's gone black essentially. Like
she's gone black. Yeah.
They can't get any communication with her, and it seems like in the airport they were trying to hint at like these two characters have like some sort of history or they know each other in some way. And then it's like
Right.
seems to be there's like something building up with the plot of this plane. Like there's all this weird foreshadowing going on with like what the passengers are talking about and how these particular people are acting. But I mean, Charles doesn't have any time for that. He has a gala to attend. He has a fucking
Yeah.
ball to fucking just roll into via fucking Krakoa portal that's just there.
Right.
He just strolls right in, and they're like, "Oh, Charles, what's up?"
Just straight up. So he goes to the portal, and he's in Sokovia. And he's like, "Yo, what's up? I'm here. Honor me, bitch."
What's going on, Sokovia? Sorry you had to get dropped on things.
Right? Sorry, we tried to turn you into an asteroid.
Yeah.
My bad. But he's hanging out. You know, he's having a good time. He's drinking a little bit of champagne.
He's schmoozing.
He's schmoozing a little bit, and we're met with I always forget this guy's name.
The healer.
The healer. Yes, there we go. The healer.
He's literally called the healer. They want fucking just simple with him. They were like, "You're called the healer. You heal."
Heal things. What do you do? I'm a healer. What do you want to be called? Well, you know, I heal things. Yeah, I guess we'll call you healer.
I think it's like a Claremont creation. I can't remember for sure. He's very low key in like the X-Men mythos. Like literally, I think from the wiki page I peeked at, he was in like 2 stories. He wasn't even the main character either. I could be wrong, but I think that's what his whole deal is. But yeah, he's their he's their go-to medic for the whole island of Krakoa. He's the doctor, the pediatrician, dermatologist. He's got it all down.
It's a good gig. Like a monopoly.
He's like pretty much anyone who has any like little bit of medical skill in like a zombie apocalypse movie. There's just the everything for like a doctor. Like, oh, they'll come across like, oh, you're a veterinarian? Okay, cool. You're gonna be our go-to for all medical things. Give birth to this child. So yeah, he's got a weird role there, but it seems like that's all he's ever really gonna be used for. This, I don't think they have any like greater plans for him throughout the story. He's just gonna be their medic.
Right. But he's with Jean Grey, and they're met with they're just reading the minds of this soft bod colossus. That's what I call him, soft bod colossus. He doesn't have that metal hard bod yet, you know, that rock hard, you know.
He's in soft bod form.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like they healed him up pretty good. The hole seems to be gone in his leg, but then they're like literally just like, oh, well, you know, we can fix him, but we can't fix his sadness. And he looks so brooding in that final panel. He's like, "What? So I stared at you, like covered the other one, frowning." He's like, "Oh." He's
just staring. He's staring through you. He's not staring at me at all. He's staring through me, through my house, through LA, through the mountains,
into space.
Yeah.
It was kind of gritty though in that panel before that though, where it was like him carrying the children, and you just wonder like, oh man, how many of those kids did he not save?
Right.
There was not that many kids on the boat with him, that's for sure.
Not at all. But makes sense. A lot of holes in his body. He's just picking up refugees and using his body as a shield. I feel he should be a little bit more tactical by this point.
Yeah, he was just like, I'm just gonna run in front of the bullets. You people run in front of me. This is how I'll get you out of here. Just like a tank and an army following him, just like shooting past him. He's like, why isn't this working as well?
But after that, we cut to back on the airplane, which seems to be taken over by this group,
We cut to September 11th. What's happening in here? Oh my
Straight
god.
up, we go 9/11 hard up in this bitch, but with more muscles.
Yeah, with more muscles intact, I guess, and more cyborg body parts and more
Yeah,
Domino body parts.
and they take over the plane, but then they bail quickly. They're all like, "All right, we took it over, but we just took it over because you're kind of flying over airspace that we need to be over. So peace." And they hop out, and this is a pretty cool panel. You got this pretty epic panel where they're just leaving these people.
They got
Like,
like a Top Gun, like kind of like movie feel of just like fucking diving out of the plane, posing at the same time.
right? But I imagine they blasted that door open to get out there to the
Yeah.
plane, so they fucked up the cabin pressure in that plane. I
Oh,
don't
that
think
plane's dead.
that plane's fucked, right?
I thought that was the plane on fire in the next panel, but then I realized it was them. But I thought it was the plane. I was like, why is the plane just bursting? It wasn't entering the atmosphere. Like, did they blow up the plane when they bounced out? But like, still, like everyone's like subdued. So I don't know what's going on. It seems kind of like those people are fucked.
But yeah, we're getting a halo jump right now, and they're halo jumping straight to Krakoa. And we see my friend Black Tom Cassidy with BTCs. I'm going to start calling him.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that. 2020, the year of BTC.
The year BTC, come on. So he's the first one.
Who realized something's up, but he literally straight sees the shit. He's just like,
he's just looking out into the distance.
he's like, what's that glowing light?
Right?
I still don't understand, why are they glowing? Like, that's another thing too, is even though it's not, it made sense if it was the plane, if it was like on fire, but then I'm like, oh, it's them, but like, why are they glowing?
Are they going through the atmosphere?
I didn't think they were that high up.
Right? And if they're going through the atmosphere, they should be burning to death.
Maybe it's, yeah, exactly. Well, they're augmented though, remember?
Right. If they're here, oh, right. If they're okay.
Yeah.
But as they're halo jumping, we come back to Sage, and Sage is still worried about Domino.
When she picks up that she's back, she's like, wait, Domino's back.
Right.
And it makes no sense because the people who are entering the island now, none of them are Domino. But
right.
She's clearly picking up Domino's life signs from those people.
Right. So they took odds are these people took that blood. They went down on that blood ritual, and they're like,
Yeah.
take your blood, son. So that gives you an idea of on what level they're tracking these mutants. That Xavier's kind of tracking these mutants. That if you could take the blood, you could replicate their GPS, their location, pretty much, right?
Well, you replicate their DNA signature because
DNA signature,
due to the Krakoan recovery system, they have like that DNA database that Sinister was working on. So because of that, they're allowed to pick up on anyone's actual DNA signature when they enter the island, or at least when they enter the perimeter of what the island can scan. Or their I guess you could say defenses.
Yes, exactly.
I think Charles is rolling in from fucking Sokovia like a fucking drunk. It looked like he was kind of drunk, like he's partying, waving to everyone. He's like, "You guys have a great time."
Yeah, get out of here, you silly fools! Get out of here.
BTC is rolling up on him like, "Get down!"
Right? This is just like
we're under attack.
Yeah, and he's just like, "Yo, we need to get out of here. Things are about to go off. You don't understand." And Xavier's just all like,
hubris. It hit him.
Yeah, it did. It really did. He's chilling. He's chilling this whole time. He's not worried. He's not stressing.
Well, he says the place is it's like the way he talks about Krakoa and how untouchable he feels. He's like, this place is our fortress. It is our home. And it's like that stuff that Moira talked about how he has kind of a god complex. It's really coming out here in these panels, but maybe there's a greater reason to that. Like Xavier in this current arc always seems to have a plan. Like he always seems to have a backup plan, or he always seems to have a greater scheme that's running underneath his main plan that's going on. So what goes down in all of this and how this all works seems like it might have been something he wanted to happen, and less of oh shit. But we'll find out.
We shall find out. But as this is happening, we're met with like a lady who gets a laser. Well, who is this? I don't know who this person is. The blue person with the laser over her forehead.
I'm not familiar with this character. It seems like she has some ability to create like a flower out of fire, and she gives it to Xavier.
Is
Is
that
that
the
who you're
same
talking?
person? No, no. I think that's the person next to the blue person. The green.
Oh, the kid. Oh, you're okay. Okay, you're talking about the mom who gets murked.
Yeah, the one who
Yeah,
gets
because
hurt.
there's
Yeah.
that final panel when like the kid's like the person who gave the weird fire flower to Xavier, um, was the one whose mother gets murked. The blue person. Yeah, because they're like the person saying "mama" was that person that gave that little
Mhm.
gift to Xavier, and that was quick too. It was like right in front of like you see Charles in the background too. Like these people right there in the front, staring like at each other, like all happy and like a family, and then all of a sudden there's this little reticle laser right on the lady's forehead, and
Just
then blood splatter.
and then bam,
And they
she
were like,
is.
"This is X-Force comic. Did you forget?"
Don't forget, motherfucker! Headshot, bitch.
Like, look at that panel, holding the hand still as the pool of blood forms at the feet of the child.
Yeah.
And then BTC is like, "Get down!" I said, "Come on, Charles."
Get it together.
That
And
motherfucker.
but yeah, he's just BTC's just like, yo, we need to get out of here. You need to stop this shit. You need to get the fuck out of here. And there's a sound effect above him that's Buddha Buddha. I don't know what that sound effect is supposed to be replicating.
Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, but maybe like the. Oh, you know what it is? It's supposed to be the sounds of the muzzle fire going off, like boop 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 boop. Like
Okay.
that's like a gun, but it's just kind of. It's a funny one. See the Cocoon one, that's like a classic, or like a Kaboom, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was definitely the first time I'd seen something kind of like that. But yeah, these people are murking everyone, like in Krakoa. Like, look at that. Is that Caliban getting murked right there? Like, I just now realized that.
At the
That's fucking
bottom.
Caliban
Yeah,
at the
at the
boat.
bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, god damn it! He almost
Again.
killed off
He's
Caliban.
dead again. But yeah, everyone's just he's just like run, run,
Oh.
and everyone's just kind of like no, and like it's a
Wolverine's freaking out.
he's freaking out,
Jean's
Jean
freaking
Grey's
out.
freaking out, Sage is freaking out, and you at first after all those three, I thought the next panel was going to be the Kool-Aid Man going, oh yeah.
No. Oh yeah. Dude, look at that crew though. That hit crew is like
Right?
straight out of the '90s X-Force comics. Look at those shoulder pads.
Look,
Look at those boots. Look at those tiny feet.
look at them tiny feet. Let me see them pouches.
Look at those pouches.
Yeah,
That one bitch right there's got like at least I can count
he's got a bunch.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that one chick's got 5 pouches I can count right on the front there, and like the most '90s looking like sunglasses you could ever own.
Yeah. But this,
And the cable shoulder pads. God damn it.
gotta love it. But we go and essentially Xavier's on the run now. He's just like, all right, I'm out of here. Uh, Black Tom Cassidy is like controlling some worms or something. What is he doing? He's like,
I think that
he's
was more of like roots and stuff. Like, so what he's doing is he's like uprooting like a lot of the trees and using them as like actual projectiles and weapons to like just crush and obliterate all those like Strike Force members. And he's wrecking them. He says, "You came here to fight. You came here to fight? Oh my goodness. Well, let me give you a fight." He literally is talking shit to them now. He's like, "You're not just fighting Black Tom.
Yeah, this is a
You're
great line.
fighting the whole teeth and claws of the goddamn and the fucking genitals.
Yeah.
All
And
the genitals. He
And
literally
the
says the
genitals. He
genitals
says
of Krakoa.
genitals.
He
Yeah.
literally says that. Like, that's not ad-libbing or being hyperbolic. That's Black Tom saying, like, take the balls of Krakoa in your face. And then Charles has a bit of a panic attack, which is kind of interesting because I'm like, all right, well, if this isn't something he set up, then him having a panic attack was kind of interesting.
Right.
And then Wolverine starts doing his thing, and that gets kind of grimy. But we have a nice little like reprieve against him and Beast because then Beast saves him while Wolverine's getting lit up. But I mean, Wolverine was like,
It's
I
fair,
probably had it. Like, you know, I was just gonna get up and kill them anyways. Like, they only
yeah,
shot me twice. Like, whatever.
it's not a big
Good
deal.
job,
Fine.
Beast.
Thanks, Beast.
Yeah, even bloodied his hand too. Like, he got a nice little shot there at the bottom where he's got that bloody hand. He just murked that person, like fucking just ripped their heart out or something. I'll eat your heart out.
I'll eat you.
He like puts his glasses away. That'd be funny. And then Jean's weird telekinetic movement. What's that about? Like, I've never seen her fly like that. Normally, there's no like actual visual to her flight. It's always like, why is it manifesting? Like, is she using so much telekinetic force that it's like manifesting so everyone could see it?
She broke the psychic barrier.
And look at that shot of Wolverine. He's just looking at her skirt. He's looking right up her his Beast. They're both locked with her skirt. It's so weird. I think that's my mistake, or I don't know, but that's
even they're like not even that, they're like looking up and she's already like flown past them.
Yeah,
so
they're like they're looking at her lower torso.
They're looking at her knees. Not even that. Yeah.
I guess you're right. It's even lower.
It's even lower than that. Yeah.
It's a G. I know those knees.
Right? Look at the knees. Those are my good knees.
Yeah. Then we get some more Black Tom like doing this thing, like really just letting loose and like having fun.
He's just getting down and
look at that center panel. Whew.
Right?
Coming out of the roots are like coming out of the mouth and just
my. Just destroyed this person with foliage.
Kale, it's the superfruit or super vegetable. The superfood. Oh jeez.
But then we see Wolverine, Jean Grey, and Beast rush to the scene, but as we see,
it's like a scene at the end of Heat,
right?
Between, like Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. They're like, the dude's standing there, and he's like, "Is he just take it easy, man? Don't shoot me." Charles' hands is up, but
yeah,
wow.
His hands are up. We see a soldier. He's hesitantly holding a gun towards Xavier, and we just see the faces of Beast. We see the face of Wolverine, and we see the face of Jean Grey, and they're just kind of frightened. And we see the giants blam.
Yeah.
And Wolverine,
right over their faces. Yeah.
Wolverine goes savage on this guy. Right. Yeah. We're not even seeing we don't even see what happens to the blam. First off, we just see Wolverine's kind of like
reaction.
Yeah, this is happening, and it's savage.
But it's like they already are telling him like, "Stop, Logan!" Like before the guy's like turning around, and you could see Wolverine in the visor just coming at him. That's so fucking awesome. Right? That nice little reflection of just his face, like flying at the dude doing his Wolverine lunge. The Beast is on top of him quick because he's like, "We need him alive."
Yeah, it's like we need to don't kill him. He needs to talk. Yeah.
And then Sage just picked up on what's going on because she's like, "Uh-oh, like something's up." She's losing it. Black Tom's crestfallen because he's figured it out too. Because we cut to his scene and he's wrecked havoc. He looks broken though. I mean, he defeated them like outright, but he definitely looks like he feels like he failed. Which is an interesting side. They're putting a lot of emotion and character into Black Tom. They're writing him
right. I've never seen him written like this before.
BTC
for the win, man.
Yeah.
Oh. Black Tom Cassidy. But yeah, everyone's just having their moment where it's just like, it can't be. It's not. It's like an anime. It's just like everyone's like, it's not possible. It can't be. And Nani. And we get gas, and we see BTC so sad, and
cut to an angry, bloody Wolverine.
Who's he talking to, by the way? Where he says, "Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me Krakoa is wrong." Like, is he talking to Sage?
Yes. I think he's either talking to... No, he's talking to Jean. Because Jean's psychically connected to all of them right now. So
gotcha.
So when she's the psychic defense system. So once Krakoa was infiltrated and put on alert, she connected to all like the structures. Because remember, back in like what was it, House of Powers, where they just explain the
Yes.
communication and
Y-
the network and all the compartmentalization of Krakoa. So Jean's whole job was to unify all of them so they could understand it. And they've actually done a real good job of like flushing that out. Like I'm
Yeah.
actually starting to realize that they're actually really, especially with Black Tom being the defense and like how Sage works, like it seems like it's really working. And of course
Who would
Beast
have
is there,
thought?
but
Yeah. And Beast is there.
but he never really seems like he's playing his part either. He's the one that doesn't seem like he's fitting as well. But I mean,
He's been out of place for so long.
he ripped that dude's heart out, so I'll give him a nod.
Yeah. Beast needs to like experiment. Give him some experimentations. But Beast aside, we're cut after everyone gasps. They have their Nani moment. We cut to a shattered, broken Cerebro, and we are to assume our man, my man, mutant hero, Charles Xavier, is down. Charles Xavier is dead. Gasp! This is a Nani moment. Nani!
Bullet hole right through the center of like I mean they destroyed Cerebro, but there's a nice bullet hole just sitting right in the center of it too. Like I like that they left that in there. Like it didn't shatter the whole Cerebro. Like it just shattered the top part, but then still has that little bullet hole outline, and then the bloody hand like underneath it. But it's like, oh no, they killed Charles Xavier in an X-Men comic. What does that mean?
What does that mean? And luckily,
on an island where they can regenerate people.
Yeah, it's been established that this isn't a problem, which is
so immediately I'm not like I'm shocked at the fact that they're doing it soon, but I'm not shocked at the fact that they killed them. I'm just not like, oh my gosh, what is the weight of this? I'm more of like, all right, what is this gonna play as a plot device to the greater story? Like what's Charles? I think this is Charles's plan. I think he was pushing.
Sure.
I think he set this all up. I think they might have.
You think so? You think he's setting it up to like what are those called? Where you they did this during the those rallies we used to have against like 99%, where people would go in and cause chaos to incite violence to then give the police a reason to arrest people.
Yes,
they're like harbingers.
Remember in the Grapes of Wrath, where like the people lived on that little like the homeless families and like the displaced families. They lived in that weird little commune by the government, and they'd have their parties to dance. And what would happen is like the local police would send people in, and they'd rile up the parties and start a fight, and that would allow the police to come in and bust up all the people and like assault them and stuff. So this could be one of those. It could be like a false flag kind of operation. Like feels definitely like it might be Charles playing a greater role. They really feel like they're kind of designing him to feel a little bit like the Maker. He's got that god complex. He's got that design. He looks like the Maker with his helmet. Like Hickman has a little bit of ties to writing like the Ultimates and then like an involvement with like some of that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if that might be a red herring I'm picking up on, or like he's putting down on purpose. But
maybe. Who knows?
This definitely intrigued me instead of making me angry. I mean, they never even pitched it. Like, of course, I got a bunch of like spam from like CB and like CBR and all those comic websites. Like, ooh, guess what? Big X-Men character they killed off this week. Oh my God, Charles Xavier. And I'm like, no, that's not news. That's something else. You guys are taking away from it the wrong information.
Yeah.
If any of them understood how the current X-Men comics actually worked, like people getting killed off is not like
not a problem.
That story trope has been removed, and the Hickman created that device to kind of suss that away and get it out, so we don't have to lean on it or like hang on it each story.
Exactly.
And they've already. I mean, spoilers. They've already resolved it. Like in just a few like issues, it's resolved.
Yeah. So Hickman's not kidding when it comes to like this shouldn't matter. We're not making deaths an important like pivotal story moment.
Yeah. That's not your whole story anymore. Like that would be the whole story sometimes in some of these comics. Like that's it. All we're writing here is a death comic, and it's always going to be poorly executed and overwritten in like weeks.
Right.
Literally weeks.
Literally, yeah. The term I was thinking of is called agent provocateur.
Ooh.
Are these people who go in and kind of incite and rally violence. Um, yes. So possibly this could be all Xavier's doing, but for now we're left with a beaten and broken group of mutants and a dead Xavier. And that concludes this issue of X Force. What did you think of this issue?
This X-Force was great because it had something for all the X-Force fans over the years. It felt like it had a nod to the 90s X-Force, to the 2000s X-Force, and even the newer X-Force of like the last teens. But overall, it still felt like one narrative. That's the great part, is that it touched on all of those kind of old themes and old characters, but it all felt organic and flowed together. They didn't fight for each other's position in the story. They all connected in one coherent story, and
Yeah,
it definitely had a good flow and it was fun. All the stuff with Black Tom was great. Fucking BTC is killing it, and
BTC man.
I think if they keep making characters come across like that, written well rounded and well versed, and just kind of unique to not only their own origins but kind of playing on like the mythos around them, then I think we'll keep getting good stories like this. But for an X Force issue overall, it was phenomenal. I had all the stuff it loved from the older ones, and it also kind of moved this whole greater House of X and Powers of X story to a very pivotal like paradigm shift about just like shedding off the woes of the dead character trope, and we're now going to experience the world of X-Men moving forward in the reality of this. But I mean, good God, like Charles Xavier dying and coming back is like almost like that in itself is like classic X-Men too.
Yeah.
Well, that's a classic X-Men storyline. The Phoenix is back, Xavier's dead, everything is as it should be. Oh man, but I had a great time. Like I really like this. This is great, and I'm excited to read the next X Force issues and like
Sure.
more of the greater Dawn of X story arc. And I really liked it. But what's your takeaway from this? Like, what does this comic kind of like feel to you?
I definitely dug like the entire like BTC defense systems that they kind of expanded on a little
Oh
bit.
yeah.
Seeing a like dark, not dark, but like a just kind of a dead, very dead inside Peter, very dead inside Colossus, just so beaten and broken. That was interesting, especially after not seeing them for so long.
And especially after that mustache he used to rock. You remember
Yeah.
that? Yeah, that's why I stopped reading X
Yeah.
Force. But they were
Oh,
like showing the new X Force lineup after Avengers versus X Men. That's when I was like, I'm getting out of this. And they showed X Force, and they're like, Cable's back, and I'm like, well, I didn't really like that X Force. I like the X Force with Wolverine, and they're like, but Colossus is here, and his mustache is iron. And I'm
yeah.
like, what? Metal mustache? Like, all right. But yeah, he was done. They did a number on Colossus. He got wrecked in this. That shit was awesome. The Iron Titan got broken down.
Sage kind of feels like Sigourney Weaver in Galaxy Quest, where she's just kind of like the thing to tell the other person
Oh
the thing.
shit! Yeah, yeah. She is kind of like just like a placeholder for like a prop transition for like the scene and the communicating the information.
Yeah.
Oh, Galaxy Quest. This is a great movie. That's the best Star Trek movie ever made.
Best Star Trek movie ever made, people. It
Galaxy
is
Quest. Watch
by
it.
far so good.
Tim Allen, he'll surprise
Uh,
you.
but yeah, that was good. That was a good one. That's a good introduction to X Force. Just it gets into the nitty gritty really quickly. It's just like, all right, here it is. This is what's happening. This is going down. No time to talk.
Yeah, for this and Excalibur have both been my favorites so far of the like
Oh,
the
yeah.
series, like the focus. Marauders would be like a strong third or fourth, maybe. Originally, the X-Men one, that's kind of, I don't know. That one feels more like it's a bigger
So
plot. So
so weird,
it's
yeah.
yeah, it's there's a lot more going on there for me to really like lean on that one as like the one I liked. But we'll give that one more time because that one's still building. But yeah, so far like X Force and Excalibur have been phenomenal.
Yeah, X Force is great. I'm loving all of this. Excalibur's great. I'm digging all the mystical stuff. Marauders is on a whole different level. It's so uplifting and it's so different and unique compared to the rest of the series
Yes.
that I just like. I don't even want to compare it. It's just like just seeing Kitty doing her like thing. Her getting like tattoos in like the second issue. That I'm jumping ahead, but it's she goes kind of buck wild a little bit, which
But it works still.
It works.
Fits.
It works. Yeah.
Even though it's like it could feel like a solo series in itself, it still fits to the greater narrative. So it doesn't feel like how they were doing with some of the X-Men in the past, where they were stretching them over to Avengers teams and stuff, and they were like, "We're gonna get an Avengers series with Rogue and like Havoc," and you're just like, "What?" Instead, it's like, "Oh, we're gonna get Kitty being Kitty doing pirate shit, and this is gonna be fun." So here you go.
Yeah. But all of these titles are titles we've seen before. Next week, we are going to be talking about Fallen Angels, which is a completely new title for the X-Men series. It'll be interesting. It's new. It'll be different. So, any last words on X-Force, Danny?
No, I'm just real excited to read more X-Force issues and get into some more of the ones later on in the series. And I'm looking forward to jumping into Fallen Angels next time. That's going to have kind of a similar vibe and theme. So I think that'll tide me over till the next X-Force. So, yeah, I'm super excited and happy with what we got down on.
Super excited. Same here. But catch us next week. Until then, this has been Podcast of X. Remember, we are on Instagram. Send us a voice message if you're listening on Anchor. Subscribe and all that nonsense. And remember, the robots are gonna kill you. So live your life, bitch. Get out of here. Go. Peace. Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, we are going back through our classic episodes and uploading them onto YouTube in what we are calling Podcast of X Classics. So be sure to be on the lookout for more classic episodes. And be sure to check out freespeechgeek.com.